Hello everyone, today I am going to do a reading on the UK for the rest of 2025 and see what comes up. I've already got sort of intuitively, psychically, channel wise, however you want to say it, notes, and I'll pull cards for some things. So firstly, separately I might do it, otherwise this will be quite long. A reading on what happened in Liverpool and some other stuff that could come up just spontaneously in June and July. All right. Well, this one I wanted to look at overall, and if you can hear like chewing or some kind of noise, it's actually the dog with his treat. I did close the door, but he he was sat at the door and I felt really bad. So hopefully it's not too much of a nuisance of a noise. And so what we're going to do is really look at the overall for the rest of 2025. Now we know, and I mentioned before, Kia, or as Kia was coming into power, digital footprint, digital wallets, digital everything. I mentioned wallets a lot, is going to be a big theme in the UK, and we can definitely see that. There's this 2020-30 climate control. There's this sort of theme about control of the climate, the resources, like farmers, etc. And I just think it's awful. I did channel energy and meaning around what her basically selling the UK to who, the World Health. Disclaimer, this for intent purposes. There's some trigger words, so I believe that's one of them. I hope this is going to be okay. So make sure you support by liking, because I do cover stuff that tends to be quite case sensitive or word sensitive. So and that was very malefic because, okay, so with this whole, obviously there's a petition and I hope everyone signed it, but I think they were already messing with the climate. I think they've been doing it for a long time. Cloud seeding, and now it's just gonna, the experiments are gonna be heightened, so they need to tell us about it. But it's like they just want to control us by us falling into deeper depression, not having the sun to energize us physically, mentally, and that way it's control, fear, and a lower vibration. But this is a bit scary because it's talking about the whole of the UK, the whole of the population. But it's not like it's going to be from sunny UK or from April to September to no sun at all, because they've already been playing. So we've already been in this kind of play of geo engineering, geo playing with stuff. I'm sorry, but it really frustrates me. It really irritates me. I really hate what is happening in the UK. I'm just going to leave it there and we'll go into stuff. So big on digital ID, and it seems like, you know, Tony Blair also saying about his saving of 2 billion and probably more by having digital ID. Well, he seems to be very much a globalist, and some may say he was a globalist 2 years ago, and that was very evident. The biometric idea of from birth to death, that they're going to be, probably, I think Kia will follow through on. I don't know if we've got further updates on that. I don't follow the news or the politics, and it's so obvious why it's being done. And I also see they use that to leverage how people, you know, like they'll use the partition you sign it up, and they're actually leveraging how peed off people are about this. And it seems like some of the things that where they are peed off, yeah, they'll pretend they're doing something about it, or they're going to downplay it or whatever, but actually it's for them to gauge how they go about it. And the more triggered we are about it, the more they feel they have control and to do actually do it. Whereas when we are not so bothered, it's kind of like, well, why? We need to change something. We need to do something a bit different. There's that kind of game that's also ongoing there. And this whole thing is also Bill Gates backed up. I wish he would just talk within the country he's based. But yeah, I can't understand that, I've mentioned him in my predictions. I haven't pulled cards on him, but there's something about him, and just knowing he's backing this up is just horrendous and terrible. And I do think we are going to see more workforce protests and this climate protests in the UK, and another, which I know that I've noted somewhere. We're such a small country, and I think also thank you to the royal family on this, is that we've had weight in terms of, you look at the larger countries, that the UK is seen as a power country and a power control country. If you look at the UK amongst the size of the countries that come also quite power countries, talk about Russia, the US, China, we are small. And so, we need to be, is there going to be a change on that? We need to expose these things that are ruining the UK. The frustration is, it seems like no one is listening, and also it's all just, we're going to go with our agenda of control regardless. It doesn't seem very human at all. And it's really, the other thing that I was reminded while I was thinking about this is, around the world you've got the different chakras placed in different countries. We've got the heart chakra placed in Glastonbury, and it just seems like it's not listened to. It's not felt for humanity. Now, many powerful countries are having intense energies right now and changes. There's tension and agendas to control. And I do think as well that elites are using astrology and power dates to actually decide when they announce something to help influence or control us. So dates that, for example, we would not be out of our mind about having heard it. And so it'll go down a lot easier. Or a power date where maybe, I'm giving you an example, Neptune is very a heightened degree against something, where we're just foggy about everything. So we're just not sure how to protest so harshly and so focusedly, because we're foggy mind about understanding what they're trying to do, what the message is here. But yeah, I do see a lot of elites and power countries using astrology to control and influence people at certain times, at the right time of what they see. I actually wonder, because I think astrologers see countries have their own zodiac sign based upon when they were born. I don't know what UK could be, so it could be a Capricorn, given I was gonna say Capricorn, but I don't know about that. So if anyone is an astrologist watching this and you know about it, then please do let me know. I do know that Keir Starmer, I don't know what the statement was, recently said a statement could have been about Liverpool, could have been something else. And Nigel Farage was there. And I can do cards on that. I'm thinking to do it at the end of this reading or in that separate reading where I'm reading on different stuff. So we'll look at that. But one question I pose to you is sometimes, you know, we go to a supermarket and there's 3 different types of apples and you've tried them all and you're like, they're kind of tasteless. I'm not going to buy apples anymore, you know. And honestly, that is the truth with apples. Recently, there's no taste to them. Recently, by years, recent years. So you've got one apple, a bad apple, let's say Kirstama, and then you kind of like, there's next to it, there's the other apple that's on offer, and you kind of like, I'm gonna go. You just take the other apple, but in essence, they're both bad. They're both tasteless. You didn't really want any of them. What am I trying to get to here is the far right going to be the answer? Because what I pose to you is actually the UK is going through a death of the old matrix. That old matrix also probably looks at the monarch and the way it is going to be going forward. Is it going to be as powerful? Now, I spoke about this in my last prediction, so I would check on that as well. Okay. I think I also spoke about it in the Q&A edition that I did, where it's just prompt questions and answers. So I'd look at that, and taking all these elements, it kind of makes you realize that maybe it's something that we are needing to face with the government right now, but not to back down. We need to empower ourselves and empower humanity in our communities. The UK in general has been very much traditionalist. So we've followed the tradition of the royal family. I don't mean like we have a certain set of spoons for the tea, and I don't mean like that, or the locked away, you know, gold spoons with a diamond bead at the top or something like that. I don't mean like that. What I mean is like we're quite patriotic, and we love the royal family, yet it doesn't seem to be very westernized in this day and age, or aligning as it did in the past, where we seem to struggle to move on from the royalty, the tradition of the monarch. And I can see that in myself, because I struggle to see how we work to make ends meet, tire ourselves, stress ourselves, get health issues, get treated like crap at work sometimes, and we get taxed so high, and in the end a lot of it goes to the royal family. And it's kind of, and I'm also talking about the government leaders as well, and it's kind of like, well, yes, they're there and they do their roles, but how much of the doing is there? Does it align with the amount we get taxed for the amount of wealth they have that they're sat on? And we see people that are struggling, and also struggling because you get in a system that's broken, and actually it's supposed to help you get back on your feet if you've fallen. It doesn't. It breaks you down even further. And so you start to realize, is this working anymore? It's not working. As much as we're patriotic and we love the royal family, and we want to keep our culture. That's really important, keeping our culture. But I wonder how the tourist attraction is now to, for example, Buckingham Palace, or even internally. You know, people would go to the royal houses, or where we can, every now and then, every year or something. Do people do that anymore? I think we're gonna see that the percentage is very low. So it's a really toss up to keep the culture, keep the tradition. But we're also entering a time where we don't idolize people anymore. We're not going to be idolizing the royals as we did. Okay. We're not idolizing celebrities, so it's eventually going to be very much the same. And we've seen how they are human, with, you know, a lot that's been splashed out, family issues, you know, and it's not that idolizing that used to be in the past. I hope I'm making sense. um it is really a difficult toss up, but I cannot see the way things are being sustainable for the way we need to go forward, and the UK needs to go forward. I really cannot get over this whole thing about the sun. It's so shocking to me. It's so malefic. I can't explain to you how malefic it is. Let's pull some cards on it. So the agenda behind it is very much, people don't really care. People are depressed. Um, you know, people are not happy with whatever we do. There's an agenda of injustice behind it, the justice in reverse. And it's the government that's just taking this agenda and going with it. You know, it's the government's agenda. Why is it being done? Which ties into its agenda, really. It's a long-term plan that's taken apart. It's been ongoing for a long time. I think this is taking me back to saying they've been doing stuff like this. Now they're heightening interesting, I was going to say experience, the experiments and things, if things go really wrong, right? This, I wasn't sure if it was in reverse or not. So this is where it's been planned for quite some time. All right. It seems like it's been thought of. It's going to be a great alliance, a strong alliance, and backed up very well. And we've got a King of Cups here. So a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Who's this? Is this Bill Gates? Is this what? Who would stand for? Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces person here with these cards. But it's been there in the long run. Look, we've got it, what I said. Then what did I get here? How's it going to affect? How's it going to affect us? A lot of people might look to travel and move abroad. And then, you know, here we've got something about the Nine of Cups here. But with that Nine of Cups, okay, how is it going to affect the people? We've got the Star card in reverse. There's a loss. There's a lot where there was, and there's Devil at the bottom of the deck. There's the malefic energy. This is usually a celebration, a feasting. Here it seems like it's a feasting of everyone then looking at their own agenda, their own, focusing on themselves, you know, seeing what's benefiting to them, not as community, as you know, as humanity, as connecting with others, as what's good for it. Brings people into themselves to be selfish. And here it looks loss of hope, because you either try to go abroad, if not, you're slowly finding the loss of hope, and you need to fend for yourself and look out for yourself. Devil card at the bottom makes people, you know, either go into abuse, I wanted to say substance abuse, you know, depression, fear, control, being controlled by the government, low energy there. I said it was malefic. It is malefic, and that's why I didn't end up wanting to read on it, because it makes absolutely no sense. Let's see the cards. Will it last? Okay. Will it last, as in, will it last to the amount of extreme, whatever they want to do to, I mean, they're going to have to live with no sun as well. What the hell is that? So will extra celestial, will the universe try to step in? Will something sidetrack it? Yes, we could have help here, because I just asked for a confirmation and the bottom of the card was the Justice card. I just wanted the Justice or another major arcana. Called out for 2 major arcana and 3 cards. So now I'm just going to see that same question but with cards. Something that moves a lot slower than where they've wanted something to hit very strongly and go faster. That's kind of, so something gets stalled or less impactful. This tells me Mother Earth steps in. A wise energy steps in here. We might see, you know, more tolls of people staying in, not feeling very defeated. We might see tolls of people, more people getting ill. We might see tolls of, you know, people that are getting ill and no longer, basically death rates, right? Okay, the death rate, the life expectancy becoming less if they continue. So here there is a big possibility that we will have a stalling on where they're standing there with their egos held back as Mother Nature steps in. Okay, so that's that. I wonder what you're all thinking about this. I mean, can anyone make sense? You're all probably more into politics, so you might understand why they've said they're doing it, which makes sense. I just can't. So now in the UK, we do know that the royal family can't make the decisions on running the country, but they are a lot more powerful than we are, than some of us are actually thinking. So some of us are like, no, they can't say anything, they can't do anything. They are more, they have more power than some of us do actually think. Okay. And there is limits, of course, but not to the extent that some of us think. That there's absolutely no say, etc. There is power there, and you know, we are very patriotic, like I said. I mean, just think of the shots that we had and the people that were being failed by the shots and have extreme illness, yet they still believe in the shots. So where am I going with this? People still believe in the government and what the government's saying, the media broadcast, etc. Even though we've been lied to, even though, and this is around the world, and even though people have suffered their health wise, still believe. And that's where there's 2 dimensions going on. There's an ending and people waking up. Some of us, this does not add up. So I'm starting to see things a lot clearer. And the other thing is, I've said about the system, but I also want to say about doctors in the NHS and belonging to anything not private. It's like a black and white scale, and sometimes it's not black and white for people that go to these doctors, but there is black and white. Your diagnosis is black and white, and there's that also stands to conformity, that they have to conform to and follow, and this is why there's also a failure in that. It's not about care. It's not about, even when you go to the NHS or a hospital, it's not about care. It's like humans are just, you know, I don't know if any of you have experienced recently a nurse, or, the higher up surgeons, there is conformity there, but they seem to have more respect than whoever's working below. They understand. And if you learn health and social care, the first thing you learn is the patient's vulnerability and how you should act. It seems to not be there. And now also you can go to the pharmacy for certain things to be checked, so you don't go to the doctors. It's like not to make them busy. And I'm not really sure why that's getting introduced, yet they're very strict on other stuff. Now, when I was thinking of doing this reading, the London Olympics was brought to mind. And I can't remember if this was it July 2012? I can't quite remember the year, but I looked it up, and one of the last Olympics, I'm sure it's 2012. If you look at that, it seems like the subconscious programming that occurs ahead of time. So when something comes out, you've seen something, it's in your subconscious, and you kind of like follow it. That London Olympics was people with masks. It seemed like a ritual. It seemed like a programming. There was 100% of programming happening during that. Now, if we looked at the Paris Olympics, we could see the malefic ritual energy that was there. And I read on that. It was there in the London Olympics as well. It was definitely ritualistic, but it was a programming, because sometimes I'm not comfortable with the word ritualistic, but it's true. It happens. That's the programming of it, and it's malefic. It was sick people with masks, beds. The dark side was very powerful at one point in time, and that's why, they were able to do this, and people subconsciously get programmed. um and this is what could have happened with the big C, is that, it's ahead of the time, 7-8 years ahead of the time. And so when the big C happened, there was this control going on, and we all fell for it. Some of us might have fallen for it because we needed to actually travel to somewhere else for something. Some of us had to do it because our job said, you're in the healthcare sector or whatever, you have to have your jab. But it was so rushed, and you didn't have a choice. To a certain extent, people say you have a choice, but very difficult in those circumstances to have a choice. um so yeah, I think that's something to look at and see if you connect it. The other thing is, like, things like, Jimmy Savile. No one's going to tell me they didn't know. Why did he have keys to hospitals? Why did he have a key to morgue? Why did he have access to all these children charities? And why was he treated like some kind of god guru for children? It doesn't make sense. And they also, I think there was something said that he was a good friend of Charles. Um, and he probably gave him marriage advice and that kind of stuff. Um, I don't believe that no one knew about what Jimmy Savile was doing before he passed away. And this is why I say about the certain people that I doing my predictions. that when they pass away, you're going to see a lot of secrets come up about them. I said the dark side was powerful. And I said was on purpose because people are waking up. Wake up. When you're waking up, it lessens it. And find the people that are of light. Find the people that are of compassion. Find the people that stand, you know, sort of are not caught up in this control, because the UK is going through a continuing death of the matrix right now. It will continue over 2025. I think August time there's going to be more exposure of elites, August, September into October, of the dark arts that has been hidden. Possible exposure of some big things happening around the royals. I'm doing a royal reading, or you might see the royal reading before this. I can't, you know, I'm doing them basically within a day's part. There's going to be a lot about the UK's history coming up, the past history. So, for example, was there certain things about the wars that we were not told? Could that be coming up? But I do think that, and I think key dates we need to focus on that could be key for the UK. So please, if you remember this video and you come back and note what could be key. September 25, so September this year. Next year around Jan, Feb is big. And also May 2026. And it's interesting now I remember these dates because these dates are on the royal reading I did as well. So given that, I think we could be, if you watch the royal reading, I've mentioned these dates. I did this kind of tuning in, intuitive thing for the UK on Saturday, and we are now is it Tuesday midnight or Wednesday? So you will see this you're going to see this in a day of me posting. 1 second, I'll tell you. Yes, I'm doing it very late. It's Tuesday the 3rd of June. And in 15 minutes, it's going to be 12 p.m., 12 a.m., which turns into Wednesday the 4th of June. So you might see it on Wednesday, depending on if I release the Royal or I release this one. So I've done this before the Royal. The Royal I just did yesterday directly, but had already noted that a long time ago as well. Like I put notes on my phone of what I want to read on next. I think they are key time frames, and there's also positivity around those time frames for the UK people. So there could be challenges, okay, but there's some positive that comes out of it. So we'll have to see what that is around the UK. You know, to support the light, to support us as the UK people, we need to wake up even more. People that are not woken up need to wake up even more, and you know, see the now and see the true history. Whether you're in the UK or not, take this for your own country, for us to wake up in our own countries or wherever we're living. I think around the 25th, you know, sort of 25 going into 26, there could be a possible, you know, I've mentioned about the NHS reshaping, but there's either a crisis of a health, or there's a crisis around the NHS, which is not surprising. And we know that, but a massive change and reform around that framework is coming up. A total change. I definitely think that with the climate change, they have been amping up the experiment since March 2025. I think they've been doing it for years prior, the geoengineering, cloud seeding, messing, years and decades, right? But I think in March 25, I get that they've done something in March 25, really amping up before announcing this. When did they announce this, by the way? I don't know. I do think we're going to see huge health, work, and climate protests starting now and increasing this year into next year, 2026. You know, a lot of people after C actually felt more awakened to the control to things. And it was the C, there was a malefic energy that controlled us through that and lied. Out of that, this is what I want to tell you, out of the darkness, the light always wins. People have been able to waken up. So how many of you, either individually or know people that have changed and woken up after the C? So that was a very malefic energy for humanity, yet out of it the light came. Otherwise, a lot of people will still be not awakened and may even, you know, live their whole lifespan unawakened. And that death of the matrix and the new earth that we need to bring in won't be happening right now. It'll happen further down the line. So yeah, out of that came light. That's the way we need to look at it. So bringing that brings the power back to the people. I've mentioned in previous reading, I think it was a year and a half ago, I said they're going to be doing stuff to test our reaction, and if our reaction is out there, protests, etc., they might skim and try and change their messaging or something around it. A lot of what they do, they test through how we're going to accept it or not. Whereas in the past, it's kind of like, roll this out, get this done. And now the power is with the people. They have to be a lot more careful. I can't get over the sun and the world WHO. I just can't get over it. It's just continuously so that's what I see for the UK for the rest of this year. I'm going to pull some cards, and in the next one I will do the random. I've got some random predictions, like okay. So the UK are struggling to overcome the losses, the changes where there's been significant loss that we can't even look at what we might find good in our lives right now. We're struggling to get past that challenge. A lot of us are struggling to see, even if it's the minor things, we're struggling to see that there is some light, there is some good in our lives in the UK. A lot from us. These are cards for the UK for this year, the rest of this year. I haven't pulled 2026, although I've gone into the energy of 26. A lot is hidden from us. We're not seeing it. We're not getting told the truth. And we're seeing that we can't see. We can't believe. We don't get told the truth. We're seeing that everything is being hidden from us. A lot of people are just trying to peacefully get on their way. A lot of people are moving abroad because of this. Queen of Swords. A lot of people feeling like, you know what, I'm not taking this crap anymore. I'm done with it. Protests and holding their truth up, their sword of truth, against the government, shining a light. There's a butterfly, shining a light of hope, and just really with their stance that, you know, not even being wishy-washy, that okay, you know, I hate what the government did here, but I guess they're all right. No, it's not okay. What is being done is not okay. I'm not okay with it. People that are, you know, that's someone else saying, for example, I'm not necessarily putting myself in this, even though it's not okay. But I think you get what I'm saying. People are just being straight up, honest, putting their sword of truth up, and they don't want any crap or lies or anything. Just the truth is what's wanted. The blessing says there's new resources, there's going to be maybe some new economy. I feel like this is more trade or alliance agreements, some things that get injected back in the US, I wanted to say in the US, strange, in the UK. So the US, I think you get an injection of newness, but here I get like, this could be like taking the step back from being so extreme straight away on the climate or the farmers. There's some kind of newness that comes in, and it's to do with the land, it's to do with money, it's to do with maybe housing, it's to do with funding, it's to do with all those kind of elements. And these represent the needs of what we want in life as well. The challenge here is walking away and this walking away is extremely painful. It's walking away from what no longer serves us. So it's holding the truth up, but it's also having to walk away. Maybe this could be, you know, when you're fighting a system and you're kind of like, I'm just gonna, you know, they gaslight, etc. I'm just gonna have to walk away. That's the challenge, right? Because you probably see your side, but there's some hidden element that happens part of this that's not going the right way. The Eight of Cups says is you know, you kind of like, I'm just leaving this all behind, I'm surrendering it. And it's a challenge because it's painful. Either you know you're fully right, but something's not working and you just decide to walk away from it. That could be also walking away from the country, the town, the city, walking away from something personally in your life. So that's what I have for the UK. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please do like, subscribe. Look out for the royal reading. If it's not gone up, I'll also be doing more readings, obviously, on different matters and Q&As, etc. If you're tuning in not from the UK, you know, there's a lot of countries, power countries, that are going through tension and their own challenges at this point in time as well. I think we all need to serve for humanity, which we've been saying on this channel, and power to the people. Yes, power to us, power to the people, because we can stop stuff. We can definitely stop stuff. You know, it could be that, you know, someone goes ahead with signing this and in the end, oh, they're out. Okay, so this is going to be stalled and then eventually it doesn't come in. Okay, so we never know how God, Mother Nature works in our favor. Fingers crossed. Take care of yourselves and bye for now.